All right, what's going on, everyone? We got another Dandadan stream today. I'm excited to read the new Dandadan chapter. A lot of big stuff going on, obviously. I also want to tie this into Gachiakuta because I've been saying this for a while now, but I really do think that the question of best ongoing manga, at least in the realm of, mainstream battle shonen stuff, I think it's between Dandadan and Gachiakuta. There's other considerations, obviously, One Piece, right? A lot of people would say Chainsaw Man. I don't think so. People might throw Frieren in there. There's also Windbreakers. Windbreakers. That's like probably the most popular, if I had to guess, the most popular Kodansha manga after Gachiakuta. But in my experience, it really does seem like it's between so realistically the top three are probably Kagurabachi, Dandadan, and Gachiakuta. Those are probably top three. For me, it's between Dandadan and Gachiakuta, with Kagurabachi in like a very, very close, like second or third place. We got Eden's in the chat. What's going on, Eden's? We got Justin Garcia. How you doing, Justin? We also have a few other people. Somebody said Chainsaw Man is the best ongoing manga. Not right now. Maybe later in part 2, but as of the last 4 chapters or so, no. Close, but no. But yeah, I'm excited to read the new Dandadan chapter. I'm also excited for Dandadan season 2 because they keep hyping it up. They keep dropping trailers. They keep showing stuff off. Somebody either leaked or they teased the opening. The opening sounds really good. They're hyping that up. So I think Dandadan season 2 is going to be really good. It's going to be an interesting summer season because by no means are Dandadan and Gachiakuta naturally rivals. The only reason I consider them to be rivals is because Dandadan is, in my opinion, the best ongoing jump manga, not necessarily Shueisha, but jump manga. All right, I think it's the best one on Jump Plus, and I would say it's currently, not all time, just currently better than One Piece and Kagurabachi. And for Kodansha, I would say it's Gachiakuta. You could probably argue, I'm not caught up, so I don't really have a foot in the race, but I would say, Windbreakers is probably up there. A ton of people read Windbreakers, it seems like. So that's a contender as well. But chat, what do you think? I'm curious. The whole reason I posed the question is because I want to hear what you guys think. Obviously, I'm not, the manga community. We are, right? Like you guys are. So I'm curious to see with you guys who honestly probably read more ongoing manga than I do. What do you guys think is the best ongoing manga? And is it really between Gachiakuta and Dandadan, or am I missing a manga? We got Oscar in the chat. Oscar just renewed his membership, showing off his Shonen Ouji badges, which is a great reminder. Make sure to join the channel as a member if you enjoy the videos and you enjoy the streams and you want to show off some cool badges or emojis. Lowest tier is $2.99 a month, and you get badges, emojis, and a ton of other perks. So if you want to be like Oscar and show off some cool stuff, let me know that you're enjoying the content. Make sure to become a member today. What's going on, Oscar? Pleasure to have you. Feel like I haven't seen everybody in a hot minute. Obviously, I streamed Thursday, but that was in between a break. And then, unfortunately, I had something come up yesterday, but we are all good now. Also, don't forget, if you have any burning questions, a super chat is always an amazing way to support the channel as well. You can support anything as small as, I think you have to donate at least $1, but even $1 is a tremendous help. Excuse me. Is Iruma in Kodansha? No. Iruma is in Weekly Shonen Champion. I don't know. Let me see. It's actually a good question, because that might just be Kodansha. Because Kodansha's big one is Weekly Shonen Magazine, but they might own Champion. At least I think it is. I could have just totally messed this up. Nope. Weekly Shonen Champion. Publisher is Akita Publishing. Is there a parent company? Nope. Akita Publishing. Oscar with the renewal and the super chat. Oscar, you are my favorite person in the entire month of June. Granted, it's only June 2nd, but you are my favorite person this month. Thank you so much. I always appreciate your super chats. It's a big help. This week is going to be great. In Poland, the premiere of 3 episodes of Dandadan is on Saturday. That's right. We have the Dandadan movie. It's going to be lit. I'm not going to go see it just because I kind of want like the fresh experience. But if you love Dandadan, if you want to support Dandadan in every way, shape, and form, if you want to see it be the best thing ever and not lose to solo leveling in the next Crunchyroll Awards, make sure to support Dandadan this season, because there's a strong chance solo leveling will win best action, best romance, best fantasy, and best everything in the next Crunchyroll Awards. Thank you again, Oscar. This is my first time going to cinema to watch pre-premiere episodes. Yeah, I've never done it before. I'm not against it necessarily, and I think it's good. It's kind of like pre-orders for games. It gives companies like a good idea of, you know, how excited people are for the thing. Plus it's more ways to make money for them and more ways for us to consume the content, so I'm all for it. It's just I have never necessarily been so possessed to go watch one of them. I don't know. I was never really a fan of of how Demon Slayer did it, but I feel like the way Dandadan does it is slightly different. I also could be talking out of my butt. I don't know. We got Grace in the chat. What's going on, Grace? Grace, I don't know. Are you late? No, we're just about to get into the chapter. Grace, if you are not caught up on Dandadan, then this is not the stream for you. This will be big spoilers. I don't know. You gave me the impression that you are caught up now, but I could be wrong. So before let's not forget we got Dr. Stone coming this summer as well. Bro, Dr. Stone Part 2. Oh, God. It's going to be amazing. It's just me. Subscribe to the channel. Awesome. Welcome to the channel. I read it during the weekend. Awesome. So you can finally be a part of the discussion. Love that. Sakamoto Days is top 3. No. Hot take. Sakamoto Days. It peaked. Let's go. My first Dandadan stream. Love to see it. I'm going to totally butcher your name. I apologize. Fong Li. I hope I said that remotely correct. Fong Li. Fong Lei. Mihai. Hello. New here. You have no idea how much this channel helped me with my writing. Well, I appreciate that. And I'm glad I could help you out, Mihai. Welcome to the stream. We stream every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Every one of those days at 2 o'clock. So I'm glad to have you in the stream. If you have to leave early for some reason, you can always catch us Monday, Sunday, and Thursday at 2 o'clock. Not a hot take, just a brave one. I believe that's the definition of a hot take. As much as people probably are thinking it and don't say it, I believe that's the definition of a hot take. Lee said all good. All right, well, I tried. By all means, correct me, because I would like to know how to say it for future. How much of Sakamoto did I read? I read up to chapter 150. Have I been reading Centauria? No, I need to catch up. I'm like probably 12 chapters behind. It's still crazy to me in Poland we can watch not only anime movies but also pre-premiere episodes. 5 years ago people would have laughed at you if you said that it would be like that. I don't know what the Europe culture is like for anime. I would imagine it's not as accessible as the States. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the culture. At some point when I make it big, you know, when I'm big time Ouji, better than everybody else, and I forget all the little people, I would like to make it a regular thing to not only go to all the like American anime conventions, but I would like to, as much as I can, go to anime conventions in Europe, and not just like, you know, the UK and France, but like Poland, Germany, Lithuania, right? Like whatever, like all the different anime conventions in Europe. Because I feel like so many people hype up like American conventions. I feel like the European scene is an unexplored territory when it comes to anime conventions. Before we start, honest opinion Crunchyroll Awards. Crunchyroll Awards are same as usual, popularity contest. It is what it is. That being said, Crunchyroll needs to fine-tune how they handle those. That being said, I don't know how much Crunchyroll cares. The Crunchyroll Awards are very strange to me because they go to the effort to host them, but it feels like they don't actually care about the end product. They just want to generate traffic. That's what it feels like. That being said, Solo Leveling was insanely popular, so I'm not surprised. What was I gonna say? In my opinion, Dandadan is worth reading, but not exactly peak. I respectfully disagree. I heard that the Evil Eye fight was insanely animated. I have to imagine, because it's like the first big fight. OG, did you see the top 10 best-selling manga so far this quarter? No, I have not seen it. I know it was posted. I might, if you remind me after the Dandadan chapter, if there's time, which I imagine there will be, we'll pull it up and take a look. Surprisingly, I suspect Gachiakuta is nowhere close to the top 10. But I could be wrong. Mad and the Martial King are better than Dandadan. I love Martial King and Mad. I wouldn't say they're better than Dandadan, but I love the hell out of that take, and that makes me respect your take about Dandadan even more. If you had said something like, I don't know, Sakamoto Days, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. Since I mentioned the romance and solo leveling, I just watched season 1 of The Dangers in My Heart. I don't think I've heard of that. I'm about to watch the second one. Great show. The Dangers in My Heart manga series. I've never heard of this. The Dangers in My Heart. Damn, that sounds kind of intense. It looks like a weirdly cute series too, but it sounds like very edgy or intense. I might have to try and check that out. That's a great recommendation. Thank you. Yeah, I guess if anyone's looking for a new romance series, check out The Dangers in My Heart. What the heck is a danger? Am I like the old man out of the loop here? Am I being pranked? Possibility of suffering harm or injury. Oh no, that's danger. Oh, am I an idiot? This is what brain rot looks like. This is what native born English speaker looks like. I'm reading that word and I'm going, danger? What the hell's a danger? Is that like a dagger? You know what I was honestly thinking? I was thinking dingers. If anybody's ever watched Letterkenny, I was thinking dingers, right? Like the hockey players when they say dingers. Yeah. I don't know. This is a good moment to laugh it up. But I'm like, what the hell is a danger? And I'm like, danger, the possibility of suffering or harm. And I go, well, no, that's danger. That's not danger. That's and then I go, oh. Somebody should clip that, by the way. That's a good clip. That's awesome. The Dangers of My Heart. All right, I'll have to check that out. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Is Dandadan my #1 top ongoing? Top ongoing, I would probably say yes. Top 1 of all time? No. I would say it's somewhere in like the top 10 or 20, but not my #1. Yet, anyway. Shangri-La Frontier, best ongoing manga for me. Well, with a name like Vorpal Soul, I can't imagine why. If I was caught up to Shangri-La Frontier, I would be more inclined to agree. But even if I was, I would suspect I'd like Gachiakuta slightly more. That being said, Shangri-La Frontier is doing very well. Consistent sales. Anime was getting exponentially more popular earlier this year and the year prior. So Shangri-La Frontier was doing amazing and still somehow underrated. As for Europe, it depends. Western Europe is very familiar with anime, I would imagine. France is literally called the anime capital. Well, France and Japan have an interesting dynamic because Japan sort of looks to France since it has such a big influence on animation. But now because anime is so popular, you have so many artists in Japan looking to Japan. So it's a very interesting give and take of influence and like artistic collaboration. You wouldn't necessarily put the two together, but they're like artistic allies is the best way I can put it. Accidental allies. However, Eastern Europe, like Poland and Ukraine, is much worse due to the history with communism, which made us very backward in everything, including anime. Yeah, I would imagine you guys are like just catching up in the last 10 years or so. But hopefully that changes soon. If I'm caught up with Gachiakuta, what do I think of the current Doll Festival arc? So I'm like 2 chapters behind, but I think it has the potential to be like the best arc so far. It's really, really good. Also, that chapter with like everyone in the just the idea of everyone in the costumes is amazing. But like that first chapter with everyone in the costumes, top tier. Oh, by the way, Ouji, good news about my grades. I got 89% on my English paper. That's awesome. Good for you. That is not an easy thing to do. Writing does not come easy to everyone at all. Reading or writing for that matter. So everyone give Grace a round of applause. I want to see clapping emojis in the chat. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. It's one of the highest rated anime of last year. It was also nominated on Crunchyroll. I've definitely seen it. It's just one of those things that like I'm not familiar with, so I just don't know what it is. Please no Solo Leveling Season 2 nominations. Eddie, you're going to be sadly disappointed. Anyway, I've been yapping for 20 minutes now. Let's read some Dandadan. So we're on chapter 196. The recap, obviously Dandadan was on break for a week. The recap from last chapter was the Subterraneans were fighting Momo's crew on a plane, but they ran into the Sharknado. It's not the Sharknado, but it is. So they're like, all right, temporary truce. Let's figure out this whole plane situation. Momo remembered that Okarun had mentioned some kind of invisible tornado man thing. So this is, I believe it's a cryptid of some kind. And then she realized it is like a living thing. So they have to figure out how to stop the tornado cryptid or whatever it's called. And that's what they're doing right now. So everyone is sitting on the plane. They don't know what the hell to do. They don't know how to take down the typhoon human, but they have to somehow use the physics of the tornado. So there could be some kind of collaboration between Momo, Gigi, and I'm gonna guess Vamola in her kaiju suit. That's what my guess is. First, use her powers to fish for the flying sharks. When Momo fishes for sharks, hit them with your wave palm. Keep slamming them into the typhoon. Should we really be hitting the typhoon with sharks? If we can cool the water vapor with the frozen sharks, it will quickly turn into water droplets and ice. Wow, yada yada yada, science stuff. The eye will expand. The whole thing will weaken. If you fire the frozen sharks, it will directly lower the temperature of the seawater. The typhoon will dissipate. All right, interesting science stuff. Basically saying we're going to try and cool their jets to weaken the Typhoon. So Seiko is going to pilot the plane. Hopefully she knows how to do that. She just goes, leave it to me. So of course she has no clue what she's doing. Which is an interesting theory, right? Because supposedly the pilots are in the actual dimension are the ones piloting the plane here. So Seiko shouldn't be able to pilot the plane as well. I don't know. I'm gonna not think about that one so much. Anyway, so they start shooting sharks. They shoot it at the Typhoon and it basically did nothing. Meanwhile, the Subterraneans are like, well, we wanted to kill these guys, but we're kind of in a predicament here. Of course. She calls up her Jennifer Lopez powers, but then she says Anaconda, which would technically be a Nicki Minaj reference, right? So basically she's just referencing all the pop stars. So she punched the plane. She pulled out a thing of perfume. Oh, shit. She summoned the cryptid worm. The Mongolian death worm. She just summoned it out of nothing. Although, using perfume, I guess. The great serpent we spent 200 years growing to its massive size was killed by Momo, but the great serpent's will lives on. Oh, it laid eggs. Oh, that's awesome. Great. We fed it pigs, but since we didn't feed it humans, it can't use psychic waves, electric shock attacks, or poisonous mist. When you dry out a great serpent, it folds up and packs away easily. Oh, so they dehydrated it. Huh. So the worm is eating the sharks. It spits out the sharks. Oh, so they're using it like a cannon. God, this is probably... This, I wouldn't say it's the weirdest moment in Dandadan, but it's definitely the weirdest combination of powers, I feel like. That's kind of the magic of Dandadan, right? Is like everything feels like the weirdest thing you've ever seen, even if it isn't necessarily so. Everything you read, like the next thing you read is the next weirdest thing you've ever seen. So all in all, a great chapter. Obviously very straightforward, not a lot to unpack. It does seem like the Subterraneans have a capacity to not necessarily make an alliance with Momo, but at least draw a truce. It could be the case that after they stop the human typhoon, that the Subterraneans will be like, you know what, we're over it. In that case, they could be allies to Momo if they have a big battle against Saint Germain. I think weekly Dandadan is better. It depends. John Pole just subscribed. Well, John Pole, welcome to the channel. Have I read Astro Baby? I read the first chapter. I did not like it. It's really not for me. There's a movie called Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez in it. I thought so, but I couldn't really remember. Anaconda. 1997 Brazilian American action adventure horror film. Starring Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube. Huh. Well, considering I don't think I've ever heard of it. Although 1997, good year. The budget was 45 million and it made 137 basically million. Oh, well, it made money. Reception, the film opened at #1, remained the top spot the following week. So it made a lot of money, but mixed reviews, had cool effects, scenery, and tongue-in-cheek humor, but the acting was forgettable or cardboard, and the beginning of the movie was boring. Sounds about right. Still though, so it had Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, John Voight, Owen Wilson. What a weird ass cast. That's awesome. I've never heard of that movie before. It was considered a bad critical movie. Yeah, but it made a ton of money, which is hilarious. They're making a new Anaconda movie. Well, who would you put in that? Like Megan the Stallion? You gotta put like, you know, like a pretty lady if Jennifer Lopez was in it. I don't know. If I like the original movie, I would have more of a, I'd have more skin in the game, but I don't really care. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say about Dandadan. Decent chapter, 7 out of 10. The only other thing I'll say is if they can form some kind of truce or alliance with the Subterraneans, then they could potentially use them to their advantage because, first of all, there's probably more Subterraneans that they haven't met yet. So that's one. Two, they could potentially raise an army of Mongolian deathworms to fight against Saint Germain. Because in the frame, in the panel where they show that the serpent laid eggs, there's like 24 eggs there. So that means they could raise an army of like 2 to 3 dozen Mongolian deathworms, which would be huge. That'd be crazy. What criticisms do I have with Dandadan? I do think that it could make better use of its side characters in the newer chapters. And I would say the 2 weakest characters right now are Gigi and Rin. Rin needs like a complete overhaul. I would say she's the weakest character in the main crew. I don't think she's a bad character. I just think she's one of the least appealing. And I think Gigi has somewhat of a redundant character with no real character progress in the last like 100 chapters or so. Do I read any Ichi the Witch? Yes, I'm caught up on Ichi the Witch, and I think it's one of the top contenders in Shonen Jump. Gigi will kill them with Kamehameha, possibly. Tiberius said old school Araki, just put a bunch of jacked dudes. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Tiberius. This is the most Dandadan moment in Dandadan. An old hag uses an ancient worm. Yeah, I totally agree, but like, there's a ton of other moments, right? Like, when Mr. Shrimp flies off and is totally not Millennium Falcon. All the like fusion stuff, all the other weird power moments. I don't know what like that's a good way to put it though. I don't know what the most Dandadan moment is. I think at some point, maybe at the end of the year or like the next Dandadan anniversary, we need to do like a top 10 moments in Dandadan for sure. Maybe when it's got like, I don't know, 30 volumes or something like that. Should I read Dandadan first over Kagurabachi? My first response is just read whichever one seems more fun to you. Like whichever one looks the coolest, just read it. That's what I would say. But the second factor after that is, I would say read Dandadan first. Because season 2 is coming up, so I feel like you would be more excited to read Dandadan while the anime is going on. You would be more hyped, more motivated. Excuse me. These latest chapters for Ouji were good. Have I read any of the comedy series currently going on in Shonen Jump? That's a good question. I'm mostly caught up on Witch Watch. I love it. I've read a few chapters of Himiten, even though I think that's more of a rom-com, but that's good. Akane Banashi is sort of like a comedy. It basically is. I'm behind on that, but I love it. I love Roboco. It's underrated. That was referencing who should be in the new Anaconda movie. Oh, about like Pretty Women. Yeah, true. Although there's like cool female characters in JoJo. Grace wants to know, what should I read next? Read Galaxius if you haven't read it yet. Short read. It's still ongoing, but it's really, really cool, especially if you like One Piece, fairy tale, adventure, battle series like that. My criticism is that the romance is developing too slowly. For a guy who has read 100 romances, the author does not use the full potential. I just don't feel like it's that type of story. I feel like that was a lot more important in the beginning, but now that we're in the supposedly second half of the story, the focus has shifted away from the romance and more to the greater plot. That being said, I feel like at this point in the game, they should follow in the suit of Kaguya-sama, where Kaguya-sama made progress in the romance, but it still like delayed it. So what they did to make it feel like there was progress was they advanced the dynamics of the other characters. And they do that in other series as well. They do it to an extent in Komi-san. What else did I just read? That would be my recommendation, is if you want to advance the romance without like making Okarun and Momo like a legit couple, just develop other ships basically. Rip Sidcraft. I just haven't had a chance to read Sidcraft. it looks interesting enough, but I haven't really seen anyone hype it up lately. Edens, tell me, am I out of the loop on this one? Is this like Hema 10? Is this like, oh, it's really, or it's pretty good, just give it a chance? Because Hema 10, I didn't know anything about Hema 10, but as soon as I checked that one out, I was like, okay. So by all means, if I'm missing out, tell me. I would love to check out Sidcraft. Sentai Filmworks dubbing Ouji no Ko. Oh, is it the Ocean dub people? I just mean RIP because it's out of here in a few oh, that sucks. I know a lot of people low-key liked it. Like, I don't think anybody thought it was going to be like this crazy, you know, crazy good series, but if I understand it correctly, a lot of people were like, oh, I like this series. It just annoys me in series when they wait a long time with like love stuff. I prefer when anime confesses love in season 2 and then they develop the relationship. I just don't think it's that kind of series. I think it's more in line with the conventions of, you know, typical shonen manga where the romance is more of an undertone, which is weird to say because the romance is such a big motivation in the story, but it's not a romance in the conventional sense. Like romance is a big driving force in the story, but it's not a romance conventionally is my best way of putting that. What's my all-time favorite manga? I would have to say One Piece. As much as newer One Piece is kind of hit or miss, I would have to say One Piece. I'll be caught up with Galaxias by Wednesday. Yeah, it's very short, but that's the thing, right? Read a lot of like shorter manga because you'll have a greater sense of accomplishment as opposed to like reading a series that's like 1,000 chapters and like after 2 weeks you're like, I feel like I haven't, you know, read anything. I'm gonna say 100 Girlfriends is the best ongoing manga series right now. I feel like that's a hot take, but I respect it. No, that's the Houston, Texas people. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Have I read any of the sports manga in Jump? If so, which is my favorite? I don't like Blue Box. I don't really like Embers. It's whatever. Am I missing another one? I think that's it. Embers. Was Blue Box on break? Yeah, Blue Box was on break. Okay. Yeah, I don't really like them. Have I read the new Mad chapter? No, I'm probably like 6 chapters behind on Mad. At some point this week, I need to catch up on all my weekly or ongoing manga. What about Orb? I'm not sure. I don't even know what that is. Chainsaw Man is definitely my favorite ongoing series. I'm kind of biased though, since it's my favorite manga ever. I think Chainsaw Man is a phenomenal manga. I don't really like the newer chapters. Please catch up. No, I have to soon, eventually. The day Blue Box ends, I'm going to title the stream Over at Last. Man. I'm gonna like pop a bottle of champagne or something. I'm gonna collect all the tears of I almost said Ouji no Ko, Blue Box fans, and that'll be my salty tea for that day. It'll be my tea of victory. Best sports manga right now, in my opinion. I don't really read sports manga. It's just something I haven't explored yet. But did you say best ongoing or just in general? Best sports manga, you said right now. So I'll assume you mean ongoing. I would have to say, what the hell is it called? Not Blue Box. Blue Lock, excuse me. Probably Blue Lock, just because it's so popular. Somebody asked me a question though. Is Air Gear not sports? Is Air Gear ongoing? Maybe. What's my, okay, this is what it, somebody asked me about Gachiakuta. Let's move the conversation a bit. So somebody said, Argon said, what's your opinion on Gachiakuta? Gachiakuta is very much like this generation's Soul Eater, where it is very much a, like, it appeals to classic shonen fans while doing a lot of innovative things. One of the best examples of that is in the first big fight against Zodil, when they reveal that Zodil is the new leader of the Raiders, and they capture Rudo and the other cleaners, and it looks like it's gonna be a whatever 5-on-5, like a bunch of individual fights, but there's only like 2 real fights: Zonka versus Jabber, and Rio versus whatever her name is with like the electric hair. None of the other characters actually fight. That is like such a, it seems like such a small thing, and it seems like I'm overhyping it, like it's no big deal. But it would be so easy to write that arc where everyone like has a fight, everyone gets like an expanded backstory. But the thing about that is it avoids the trope, and it also avoids having to explain Engine's backstory. Because if you had an Engine fight, you would inevitably have to have like an Engine backstory, because that's just how Shonen works. They reveal the power and then you learn about the character, right? But part of why Engine is such an appealing character is because we don't really know that much about him. Part of why we like him is because he's just cool and he has cool powers. But probably more so is because he's one of the more, I guess, elusive characters in the story. We keep teasing, we keep getting hints at his backstory, but Urana keeps circling around it. So I suspect that when we finally do get it, it's gonna be like a big deal. I say all of that to make the point that that's why I really like that arc, because it's not unconventional, but like it's that it puts a nice twist on that usual trope of like, okay, well, the good guys are fighting the bad guys, so it's going to be, you know, like a bunch of one-on-ones like in Bleach or Naruto or One Piece, right? Like Enies Lobby, right? Enies Lobby. The good guys fight the bad guys and they all have like a one-on-one fight. Like everyone gets a fight. Gachiakuta. First like big arc other than the Jabber arc, all right, where they fight Jabber. In any other shonen, it would have been like Enies Lobby. They don't do that. Urana does not do that. So to get back to my point, what's nice about Gachiakuta is it has all the usual shonen things, but it puts a lot of interesting twists on the usual formula. So it stands out from a lot of like battle shonen. Other than that, the other thing I really like, obviously the art style is very good. And Urana, I guess to expand on what I was just talking about, Urana has a very different approach to characters. So to contrast, let me bring up Kyoshi. In Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, the way that series builds characters is through flashbacks. Like, you get a big fight, and then in the fight, the character gets a power-up, and they get a flashback. That's like such a classic shonen thing at this point that every time it happens, people are like, oh, here we go, we're gonna get their backstory. Urana does not do that. When she does, it's very sparingly. The way Urana builds characters is primarily through character dynamics. So the way she builds characters is not through like exposition and backstories. The way she builds characters is showing you how they interact with other characters, which is not unknown in shonen, but it's just not how things are usually done. So, big TLDR, I love Gachiakuta because it's very much a classic shonen, but it also does a lot of things that make it stand out from everything else. So, what's my opinion on Gachiakuta? It's awesome. And it rightfully deserves to be campaigned, pushed, whatever, as one of the best ongoing manga. Zonka versus Jabber rematch is going to go so damn hard. I don't know where you are on the manga, but that would be that would be like round 3, because technically Zonka got his ass kicked the second time. But yeah, I'd like to see, yeah, am I going to check the best-selling manga? Yeah, we'll take a look at that right now. I do want to, post a poll and see what everyone thinks. Where are we? Here we go. Start a poll. Here we go. Should I read Chainsaw Man or Galaxius? Because I read 10 chapters of Chainsaw Man. I would say read Galaxius, because I'm not crazy about the new Chainsaw Man chapters, but Galaxius, I'm a bit behind on, but Galaxius is awesome. It's much earlier, but very good. What's DDD? Dandadan. That's how I shorten it. What is your favorite underrated anime studio? Underrated? That's a toughie. Because I feel like my favorite studio would probably be appropriately rated. I would say Science Saru. I feel like they're slightly underrated. I feel like Science Saru in the next 5 years is gonna be like a huge studio. Hopefully I can find this on Twitter. Might take me a second, but I should be able to find it on Twitter. Top 10 best-selling manga mid-year 2025. So this should be it. Number 1, Jujutsu Kaisen. Dandadan is number 2. Again, I'm the last person to say sales equals quality, but Dandadan is the #2 selling series, ahead of One Piece, ahead of Blue Lock. It's got almost twice the sales. It's got more sales than Blue Lock. And it's not that far behind Jujutsu Kaisen. #3 Blue Lock, #4 One Piece. #5 My Hero is crazy. I feel like My Hero should be lower, but still good. But the fact that Blue Box is #6 is crazy to me. The Apothecary Diary is #7. That makes sense. Sakamoto makes sense. It's still hugely popular. Medalist makes sense because I keep seeing people hype that up. Kingdom also makes sense because it's Kingdom and everyone is still reading Kingdom. Is that for... Let's go to Josuke. We'll look at their Twitter account. Right, so that was the Oricon half-year listing. What about light novels? The Apothecary Diaries, Classroom of Elite, Slime. Interesting. So I believe that was it. So no more Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is gone. Bye. Which is crazy, right? So that means people are probably still buying Demon Slayer. But, I mean, the manga's over. It's been over. It'll probably get a nice boost when the anime gets its finale, but, I mean, it's over. It's peaked. Wow, 47% said neither Dandadan or Gachiakuta. 40% said Dandadan. So, based on chat, I would say Gachiakuta is underrated. Have I ever read or watched Gyuin Saga? No. Apparently inspired Berserk? Huh. I'm surprised that 2 series that are in the top 10 are completed. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen, still very popular. What were the other ones? And My Hero Academia is still very popular. I would have thought My Hero would have been closer to like 10. The fact that it's 5 is a bit surprising. I did not realize Blue Box is this popular. That is crazy to me. Huh. I might have to educate people. I might have to preach. We'll see. Let me just peep chat. Hard to believe Science Haru animated an episode of Adventure Time. Look at their Wikipedia. They've done like a ton of stuff for Western studios. Have I read Tower Dungeon? No, but I heard it's supposed to be really good. The last time I saw Demon Slayer in the rankings was 2022, and wasn't it #1 or #2? Probably. But I mean, the manga's over. It's been over for a while, and the anime just hasn't been as hype ever since the Red Light District. So that's like at least a couple of years now. What's my beef with Blue Box? I just think it's baby first romance. That's all. And also, I don't really like the characters. Half above mid, which is the perfect description for perfect description for Blue Box. Half above mid just subscribed. Thank you for the subscription. Ouji, what's the betting odds we get a confession in the Rent a Girlfriend chapter? Now hold on, wait a minute. Let's be crystal clear here. Let's make this professional. A confession from, oh no, we already got, okay. If Chizuru confesses to Kazuya that, and how do I want to word this? If Chizuru confesses to Kazuya that she wants to be his girlfriend, or that she would like to continue dating him, like officially, right? With no caveats, right? No bullshit. I will make Thursday's stream entirely about Blue Box. You have my word. Clip that if you don't believe me. What are my thoughts on Tadam, which is the Netflix thing? What even is it? I know there's the awards thing. Tadam refers to both a live global fan event and Netflix's official companion website and app. I'm not too familiar with it. Someone wants to explain that to me. All right, Grace is leaving. See you, Grace. We'll catch you Thursday, hopefully. Before the stream ends, are you ever going to talk about Rurouni Kenshin sometime in the future, ignoring the dark controversy behind it? I probably will not talk about it on stream for that very reason. I have nothing against people who read that series. Obviously it's very popular for a reason, but I don't really have any reason. I don't have any incentive to buy the manga, and for that reason, if I'm not going to talk about it, I don't have any current plans to check out the manga. So short answer, no. Anyway, that is going to be it for today's stream. Thank you, everyone. We had a great discussion. Great turnout, as always. Yeah, Rent a Girlfriend is going to be interesting for sure in the coming chapters. Anyway, look out for Thursday stream. I don't know. It'll probably be... if not, I don't know yet. Short answer is I don't know yet. We'll figure something out, but there will be a Thursday stream. Check out my newest video on Iramakun if you haven't checked it out yet. I just uploaded it right before the stream. Make sure to watch that today. There'll be a video tomorrow as well as at least 2 videos this weekend, and then we'll go back to a normal upload schedule next week. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you soon. Peace.